say your name and this museum name again?
My name is Ronald W. Lewis. I'm the director of the House of Dance and Feathers Culture Museum here in the Lower Ninth Ward in the city of New Orleans.
And what does this museum focus on?
It focuses on primarily our great New Orleans culture and the history of the Lower Ninth Ward.
And why it was destroyed after Katrina and you had to rebuild it?
Yeah, it was started during Katrina, and students from Kansas State University School of Architects, under the direction of the Professor Patrick Rhodes, uh, who had a nonprofit called Project Locals, and they heard me talk about I needed help in the rebuilding process, and they came and helped me and rebuild this wonderful building.
Now, I heard that you're big on resident-led reconstruction efforts. Is that true?
Well,
And what
yeah.
does that mean?
Well, I'm committed to the community that I done spent my entire life in.
Uh-huh.
Not looking at great monetary gains out of this. I'm looking at bringing back a community that I love and many other people of the Lower Ninth Ward truly love and want to come back and want to rebuild.
And what attracts you to this neighborhood?
It's my life. I know every inch of these streets. I grew up down here. I made 58 years old, July the 17th. And I done spent my entire 58 years in the Lower Ninth Ward.
And how do you see this neighborhood as the reconstruction happening here?
Very, very slow. But it's one house and one family. They got various parties that then involve themselves in the community, but it's still not at a rapid pace. Because everything get bogged down in red tape.
Yeah.
When you're trying to do the most positive things.
And so, do you feel that this area has kind of been ignored when they talk about reconstruction?
It was greatly ignored. But it took people like Brad Pitt and some others to really highlight the Lower Ninth Ward with their endeavors of saying, well, we're going to show the rebuilding process with their program, make it right, and building greenhouses and those sort of things.
Yeah. And do you think so? Do you think that the fact that you grew up here and other people grew up here, that's the primary motivation?
Yeah, you know, when you got a true and rich history in a community, and like the sign in front of my house say your roots run deep here, and this is what it is. It's a generational community. It's an old community that had its ways here in the city of New Orleans, and we were satisfied with that. And I know as a fact that the lower ninth ward not going to be the lower ninth ward as old because the quality of life going to get to be greater since Katrina.
Do you, how do you see it having changed? How do you think it will change in the future?
Well, how it going to change? You're going to have all this new construction, and you're going to have a lot of people who just want to be in on this rebuilding process. That going to bring new ideas and new ways of moving our community forward.
Do you think that the new ideas that people will bring will be beneficial for the community?
In some ways, because we was a strong voting community, but our voice wasn't heard. So with a lot of new faces and new ideas and things, our vote gonna have more meaning to the politicians than what it had in the past.
Yeah. And what do you see as some of the new ideas that have been
I can't really say that right now
uh,
because of the slow process of the rebuilding process. But as development move forward, then I would be able to have a better pulse of the overall picture of this community.
yeah. What groups and what people have been doing the most for this area?
You know, they have well, like I said, Make It Right is one of them. You know, the Holy Cross Association, give or take, they're doing what they do. And, they got this fella named Ward McClendon. They have a little building called the Lower Ninth Ward Village where he's trying to bring in job training and stuff, making it a people's place, and you have the Lower Nine Doc Org that's working within this community. You know, you got the House of Dance and Feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
And uh, how do you see that this museum's role and this house's role in the community?
Well, I was one of the first ones started the rebuilding process right after Katrina.
Yeah.
In October of '05, I met Steve Inskeep from NPR, and he got involved with me, and he hung out with me for about a year. Dan Baum, who just wrote this great book, Nine Lives, got involved with me, and it's just a list of people, that continue getting involved. The Neighborhood Story Project, who helped me wrote my book, you know, Dan Etridge and Rachel Breslin and Abram Himmelstein, great groups of people, Dr. Helen Regis, L.J. Go, and the list just goes on of people who's truly that they don't really live in the Lower Ninth Ward, but they have made a commitment to our community of wanting to make a difference.
Do you see that outsiders can bring a lot, or do you think that this needs to be driven mostly by the people who live here?
Well, you don't have a lot of people who live here anymore.
Yeah.
So they're making their statement every time you hear hammers and nails, gone. But it really taking the outsiders that all these great nonprofit groups and faith-based organizations and college fraternities that gone into 4 years and still coming here to make a difference.
Yeah, and that you see that as a positive.
That's extremely positive. I always tell people this is one of the best hidden American stories that's going on.
Yeah, what the reconstruction effort? Or
Yes, the reconstruction effort that's being done by the American people.
yeah, what have you seen? What kind of positive things that have you seen here?
Well, the positive thing is anytime you can get people from across the country, gone into 4 years, still committed to one area, that's a big statement about the direction where this country is going in.
So you see this, you see all of this as kind of positive.
Yeah, extremely positive. That's what it's about. Anytime people willing to give up their time and their personal life to come help put other people's lives together, I don't think there's anything more positive than that.
Yeah, and where do you hope to see the neighborhood in 5 years?
In 5 years, that very few empty lots and very few empty homes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Have you seen more people moving in?
Yeah, well, it's still a slow process because it's a rebuilding process. So we left here with a city intact, and gone to 4 years later, it's far from being put back together. Even with all the infomercials and things saying that New Orleans is back, this city is not back as far as the citizens of New Orleans.